Are you a hair professional that finds creating looks like this, wow, tricky? Or maybe you colour your hair at home and would like to know how to refresh your light, bright blonde toner. Or perhaps you go into a salon to get your highlights done, but you never really know what to ask for. Well, stay tuned because in this video, we're going to be getting into everything light, bright, level 10 blonde. Hello and welcome to the world of Craig. Yes, that's me, I'm Craig, and this is my channel where we get into all things hair and sometimes a little bit of beauty. Summer is a-coming in most parts of the world. Summer is almost here and we're going to be, can I put my teeth in? We're going to be getting asked for lots of looks like this. I mean, this is a perennial favourite. I don't really think that there are trends in hair colour as such. I think that's kind of a marketing thing. A marketing thing, but I think blondes like this are something that we see year in, year out, year round. But I get lots of DMs and lots of comments on here about how to create looks like this. So that's exactly what we're going to do in this video. We're going to get into the process of this lovely model is called Sunny, of lovely Sunny's hair, and the process of highlighting it. Then we're going to look at the toner that I used, and then we're going to come back and we're going to get into some do's and don'ts, if you like, or some top tips, that's the one, some top tips on how to create bright, light, level 10 blondes. But first up, let's have a look at that process. First up, let's look at our starting point. Sunny has gorgeous hair, it has to be said. She's a naturally very warm level 8, but she does have some colour that she did herself on her mid-lengths and ends. Here we are in overhead lighting, just to compare. As always, I'll be using K18 throughout the process, and there's an entire playlist here on my channel that goes through all the products in depth. I'm using Blonde or Lightener here because that's my favourite, and we're going to mix it with 13 vol 4% at a 1:2 ratio. Sunny's hair is so light, it's not going to take much energy to lift it. And of course, my Foil Me foils as always. As this is a video focusing on toning, yes, get into those super light blondes. I'm not going to go through the full foil process, but there is, yes, you guessed it, housekeeping, an entire playlist here on my channel that is packed full of foiling videos. There's dimensional foiling, there's partial foiling, there's speedy foiling, you name it, there's a video, and they're all here on my channel. Oh look, the level 10 that we want. And that level 10 is perhaps the crux of this entire video. We're going to get into it more later. But as you can see here, I did rinse one of the back quadrants because it was ready. So I always like to rinse lightener. Once it's lifted, take it off and then carry on with your process. Here you can see I'm going through the front sections of Sunny's hair, always highlighting back from the face, and I am packing in the foils because she wanted a dimensional result, but to actually have quite a lot of light brightness. Once the rest of the foils were in, I timed 10 minutes and then I checked every 5 minutes until we got the level of required lift. There's another look at that gorgeous level 10, the perfect canvas for the light, bright blonde. Oh yes, look at that dimension, and we haven't even rinsed. Then we rinsed, shampooed with K18 detox shampoo. I always like to do that prior to toning. And then we mixed up our Shades EQ gloss, applying 1 pump of molecular mask and combing through to make sure it's evenly distributed before waiting 4 minutes. Now here on my trolley, I have my 2 formulas and I'll pop them all on screen now. I want to add some dimension at the root. That is why I'm going with a formula that's a level 9. So it is 1 shade lighter than Sunny's natural base and 1 shade deeper than the highlights that we've added. And then this is for the mid-lengths, ends and face frame. And I'm toning on a level 10. So that's target shade. I am actually going to add a tiny bit of clear before I apply to the face frame, but let's get on with the application. You can see here I've applied that root formula just to about 1.5 inches and just dragged it down very slightly through the crown in a slight teardrop shape. I leave out that front hairline because I want that to be the brightest point. Once my soft root shadow is on globally, I go in with my second formula to my mids and ends. And of course, there are specific root shadowing videos here on my channel. Then I add some clear to my remaining formula and a little bit more processing solution and go in and apply to the face frame. After the full 20 minutes processing, more on that in a second, I go in with Damage Shield shampoo once, and then use Damage Shield conditioner. A quick, cheeky little razor cut. I love cutting hair with a razor. There's a tutorial for that here on my channel too. This is the gorgeous, dreamy, light, bright, dimensional result. I mean, I just love this so much. Now let's get into those top tips for toning light, bright blondes. Back to me. So how gorgeous was Sunny's result? That's so my kind of hair. Her hair was cut with I cut her hair with a razor. Sunny is somebody that I work with. She's a makeup artist. She's adorable. She's very talented. We're going to see lots more from Sunny. It's a pleasure to work with her. But that is my kind of hair, my kind of colour. It's very translucent. So if you notice throughout the highlight process, I lifted her hair to a level 10, and that is the crux for all of this. So just to mention as well that I have lots of toning videos here on my channel. There's a playlist now that is specifically toning, but there's a hair color theory playlist as well, which has lots of information about all different sorts of hair color. But there is a specific toning playlist. I think often people come to my channel and they watch something and then they leave my channel because obviously they get suggested something in the end slate. So then they leave, and then I get lots of comments about, have you got a video on this? Or I think you should do a video on that. And I have probably got a video on all of those things. But there is a toning playlist. So whether you're a hair pro and you find formulating toners tricky, or whether you are someone that does their hair, whether you are someone that does their hair at home and find it all very overwhelming, there is something here on my channel for you. Yes, for you. Great hair from me to you for free. I love that. I have to lean into that. So let's go straight into my first top tip. And that is, if you want to be a light, bright, level 10 blonde, or you want to make your client the kind of result that we did with Sunny, you need to lift the hair to a level 10. Now, I know this isn't really groundbreaking for a lot of people watching this, but you can't make a level 8 look like a level 10 by toning it. I know, some of you will be watching this and going, well, yeah, duh. But I do get lots of comments and lots of people ask me questions about my hair's a level 9 and I want to be a really bright, zingy blonde, translucent blonde. You're not going to be. The hair needs to be lifted more. So, that is something to always bear in mind. And I say it with a little bit of humour and a little bit of irony because, you have to make light of these things sometimes, but you're never going to get a level 10 if, that kind of bright, zingy, translucent result if the hair is not lifted enough. Which leads me on to top tip number 2. So, top tip number 2 is another simple one and something that, again, a lot of you will already know and understand, but I wanted to share it. Should that client, or should you at home watching this that's going to go to a salon and ask for highlights, should you be a level 10? Well, let's pop that level chart that I love to use on here back on the screen. And this is like a natural base level chart, if you like. It's something that's used around the world to decide what natural level someone's hair is. And there are differences from brand to brand. This is just one that I found on the internet that I tend to refer to. There are loads on the internet. If you are, Sunny is a natural level, around a natural level 7, 8. She's very, very blonde. She has very blue eyes and she has very fair eyebrows and eyelashes, and she has quite a lot of warmth in her hair, as you saw from that gorgeous result. And that was 10NW Shades EQ Gloss that her hair was toned with, as I mentioned in the process, editing these at different times. If you are a natural level 4, I think it's pretty unrealistic to think that you're ever going to look like Sunny's hair unless you have a global bleach, or unless you have a ton of highlights packed back to back to back to back to back. It can be done, it's a big job, but if you leave any of the natural level 4 hair out, there will be high contrast. It will also be a bit of a push, but it can be done, and I have done it. It's a bit of a push to get someone from a level 4 to a level 10. Because that's a lot of lift, but it can be done in a foil. It's the most efficient way of doing it. Foil, as you may know, as you may not know, is a great incubator, so you can lift the hair very efficiently, very predictably. That's why I like to use foil. It's why I don't do a lot of balayage, a lot of balayage. But should your client, who is a level 4, be a level 10? It's high maintenance. It's going to need to be touched up very regularly. It's going to need to be looked after at home. If you're watching this and you colour your own hair at home, would I suggest that you take your own hair from a level 4 to a level 10? No, probably not. It's a big job. Sure, you could bleach out all of your hair to a certain level, then tone that, and then you could highlight on top of that. That's a big process, and it's a really tricky process to do yourself. I'm an advocate of colouring your hair at home. There are videos on here about home colour, what you might call box dye, but am I an advocate of doing that sort of process yourself? No. I know for a lot of people, you can't afford to go to the salon, or you just don't enjoy this, the whole process. That's completely fine, I understand. But would I suggest you do that? Probably not. So it's important to, either manage your client's expectations and lead them to what is right for them. If somebody wants to really be that level 10 and have a result like Sunny's, then that's a conversation that you need to have. But if you're at home and you're thinking about going super light, is it really the best thing to do for you? And you need to get your head around that and understand that first. Tip number 3 is the goat. But before we get on to her, just to mention that if you enjoy this video and find it helpful, you know what to do. YouTube can be a funny place, and it can show you some of my content, none of my content, a bit of my content. So if you do subscribe, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. It really does help. And if you like this video, that also helps, because it will then show you other videos that I have created. But you need to turn on your notifications by hitting the bell. And even then, sometimes people don't get to see. I get comments all the time from people that say, I haven't seen your content for ages. Kind of frustrating as a creator, and the fact that all of this is put out there for free from me to you to give you great hair. But number 3 is this. If you lift somebody, your client, or if your own hair is a level 10, happy days, because you can tone your hair to pretty much any shade you would like. Because the underlying pigment, puts chart on screen, the underlying pigment of a level 10 is just very slightly yellow. It does differ from person to person. There is more information in my other toning videos. But if you are a bright, light level 10, you can make that slightly warmer. You could make it much warmer. You could make it cooler, remembering that when you tone hair to be cooler, if you toned a level 10 with a strong violet toner, then you might end up with lilac hair and it will look darker than a level 10. But a level 10 canvas is fantastic. If you think of Sunny's result, her hair was lifted to a 10, I toned with Shades Eco Gloss 10NW, and the result looks exactly like the representation of the 10NW swatch, because she was a level 10. Her hair is slightly warmer, but it was still it lifted up to what I would call a true level 10. So it's good to remember that the lighter you are, the more choice you have. I'm not saying that everybody can be lifted to a level 10, but I'm just saying if you want that light, bright result. And then you have a canvas that will accept lots of different tones. So remember, a level 10 is the GOAT. Number 4, there's going to be 5 of these. Number 4 is that you must process your toner. When you are working on a very light canvas, you want to follow manufacturer's guidelines and you want to process it for the full development time, regardless of what brand you are using. Okay, if it's a rapid toner, it stays on for 5 minutes. Onto damp hair, then you must leave it on the hair for 5 minutes. If it's Shades Eco Gloss, then it's 20 minutes, ideally on dry hair. I know 80% of you use it on wet hair. There is a video on that on here, about that on here, but ideally, for full deposit and for the toner to last as long as it's meant to last, you must follow manufacturer's guidelines. And that's very important when you're working on a level 10. Because if you think about it, if a toner, gloss, semi-permanent, demi-permanent is designed to be used on a level 10, the tone in it is going to be very pastel. So if you put that product on the hair, and then take it off very quickly, it's only going to deposit a little bit of colour. So with Shades Eco Gloss, it has direct dye in it, so you put it on the hair and it starts to develop a little, and you might think, oh, that looks dark. But if it's a level 10 and it's going on a level 10 canvas, your formula is a level 10, it's going on a level 10 canvas, lots of information, then you can let it process and it will be fine and the result will be very translucent. The same goes for a product like Colour Touch that is oxidative. It's an oxidative dye and it's also got direct dye in it too. Yes, they are both a combination of those two different sorts of dye stuff. Then if it's formulated on a level 10 and you are putting it onto a level 10 and it starts to look quite dark, don't worry, but you do need to let it process so that the pastelness of that toner, whatever it is that you formulated it to, lasts in the hair. Top tip number 5. Yes, we've got to number 5 in this light, bright level 10 blonde. And that would be that level 10 blondes need maintenance. They need at-home maintenance. You know, they really do need to be looked after to keep them looking gorgeous. Even if you're a very light natural base and your hair hasn't been lifted that much, you just really want to maintain it so that the toner stays looking really, you know, glossy and shiny and lasts you for longer, because that will help with porosity. So I would advise, I'm an advocate for obviously using K18. I used to be an ambassador for the brand, I'm not anymore, but the molecular mask I still use day in, day out in the salon, and it's great on level 10 blondes. It keeps hair strong, makes the toner last for longer by dealing with the porosity. Then I would also advocate something that's slippery. So I'm really loving the Acidic Gloss Leave-In Conditioner Spray, which there's a video for that here on my channel. It was the last video, I think. I shoot these in batches, so you can go and check that out. It's a brilliant product, makes the hair really slippery. I also like the shampoo and conditioner in that line for coloured hair. We've been using it in salon and loving it. So aftercare is important. Now here is the kind of crux of tip number 5. If you're going to use purple shampoo or violet shampoo, go steady. Because I'm seeing a lot recently of clients coming in who've been using purple shampoo and they're bright level 10 blondes and their hair has gone dull. And that is because purple violet shampoos contain violet pigment, or conditioners the same. You can get a lot of conditioners for home use or for salon use for that matter. They contain violet pigment. Violet is a cool tone. It's the opposite of gold. And it's cancelling out any warmth in the hair and making the hair look deeper and darker. I had a client a couple of weeks ago who came in and I thought, where have your highlights gone? And she's very blonde, blue-eyed naturally, but her hair looks super dull, and I shampooed it a couple of times with quite a cheap clarifying shampoo, and it got rid of the build-up of the purple and her highlights were light and bright again. So if you are a level 10 or you have clients that are level 10, what I always tend to say to do is mix half of your normal shampoo with half of a purple shampoo, or half of a purple conditioner with half of your normal conditioner, and mix it up properly first. Don't scoosh it in and try and do that in the shower or wherever it is you wash your hair, but actually mix it up properly to dilute the product. Or even just try a little bit on a strand of hair when your hair is damp in the shower, rather than go in full on and then make your highlights dark. So aftercare is key. Be aware of purple shampoo and purple conditioners. So that's it. We're at the end of our light, bright, level 10 blonde. Goodness me. As always here on my channel, if you have a question, leave it in the comments and I will always get back to you. People are still flabbergasted when I reply to them. They're like, oh my goodness, you replied. I will just add here, and I have said it a few times in videos, I can't give you very specific formulas. I can't, because I can't see you, and so much of it is so nuanced. Like, you know, I need to know your entire hair history, I need to know what you want to be, and I do get some comments where people say, I want to be a bright copper. Well, what you think is a bright copper and what I think is a bright copper are two very, very different things. So I can't give you a specific formula for a particular line of product, but I can try and help. I always come back to you with some kind of, constructive help. So you leave a comment, I will always get back to you. I have an Instagram, which is on screen now, which is not the same name as my channel. It's Craig's World of Hair. It's packed full of more information. I'd love to see you over there. A huge thank you for watching this. If you've got to the end, I really appreciate all of your support. I love my channel so much, and I love all of you. You guys are fantastic. So thank you so much. You all take lots of care, and I'll see you all in the next one.